I'm considering switching the original incandescent lamps in my Addams Family pinball game to LEDs, which use much less power, are advertised as lasting longer, and put out much less plastic warping heat. The power reduction is particularly important because it reduces the strain on the aging power supplies in these 27-year-old machines. Before doing so, I need to answer two important questions. Which LEDs look the best, and do these look correct in the game? To answer these questions, I ordered several different types from two different sources. We'll get them into the game in a moment, but first I'd like to point out two minor issues: cost and convenience. The price for similar LEDs from both sources is about the same, 69 to 89 cents per lamp for surface-mounted diode-type LEDs. Pinball Life used to offer traditional LEDs at much lower prices, but these are slowly being phased out of industry because they don't appear to last as long as the surface-mounted diode types. For ordering convenience, I prefer Comet Pinball over Pinball Life, and the reason is how they're packaged. Comet Pinball puts each type of LED in a clearly marked plastic bag. With Pinball Life, you get them in a plastic bag, but it's a guessing game trying to figure out which LED is what. We'll test the lamps in groups of three. First up, single traditional type LEDs, a flat top, a cone top, and a frosted. Here's a close-up of the first three we'll be testing. This is a single regular type LED with a flat top. This is the same LED, except a cone has been machined into the top so that it reflects light more out to the sides. And this is again the same LED, except it's frosted. And here we go. I chose the green line of lights because they're all white and allow testing of three lamps at one time while leaving the top and bottom lamps loaded with incandescent bulbs for comparison. Some of the flickering is created by the camera's frame rate, but some of it is the result of ghosting, a brief shimmer in the LEDs as they turn on and off unevenly as the applied voltage ramps up and down. One of the biggest differences between incandescents and LEDs are that because they take a little time to heat up to full brightness and cool down to being completely dark, incandescent bulbs ramp up and down in brightness slowly enough for the human eye to perceive. This creates a more even flowing pattern to strings of lights. LEDs turn on and off much faster, creating a harsher look that doesn't flow as evenly. Games reflecting sharp styling and fast imagery may benefit from this. In games like the Addams Family, though, with softer looking, old-fashioned Victorian artwork, this sudden on and off flashing may appear a little out of place. On the other hand, the flashier and brighter appearance LEDs create may be more attractive to younger players who are used to playing video games. But on with the comparison. If the flat top and cone top light bulbs look a little yellow, well, it's because they are. Pinball Life didn't have any warm white lamps for this type when I placed the order. While the color may be off, I'm hoping the nature of the light will be close enough to indicate how the warm whites might have looked. The flat top doesn't look quite bright enough, and the cone top, which tends to reflect light off to the sides, is far too dim. The frosted lamp looks close in brightness, but in spite of being labeled as a warm white, it comes off looking very yellow to me. In my opinion, none of these first three lamps add anything to the game. The next two we'll be testing consist of three small LEDs mounted in a single lamp base. This time up, we have one of the warm white 3 LED lamps, a yellow 3 LED lamp, and this is supposed to be another warm white 3 LED lamp. I'm showing it dark to illustrate two minor issues with these lamps. The first is that they need to be plugged into the lamp base in the right direction of work. If you get one that doesn't, try removing it, rotating it 180 degrees, and reinserting it. If it still doesn't work, try prying the wire leads out slightly and positioning them in the center of the troughs in which they lay. LED lamp leads don't connect with the base leads as reliably as incandescent lamps. This is close to brightness, a little yellow, but what I'm noticing in the brighter light bulbs is that you can see the ghosting, the flickering of the lights, much more prominently than you could in the dimmer ones. This also looks a little yellow to me, not the warm white I was expecting. This actually almost, and this is the yellow one, this almost looks better than what's supposed to be the white one. Let's try 3 more. The next test will use a single large surface-mounted LED with a frosted dome, a single large surface-mounted LED, which you can see better here, with a clear dome, and this is a non-ghosting light. If you look carefully, you can see 2 small resistors on the inlet wires. They help reduce the flicker that can sometimes be seen as the light turns, just before the light turns on and right after it turns off. This is the same bulb, except it has a frosted dome. You can tell the difference between the regular and the non-ghosting type of LEDs. This shank is slightly larger, longer, and it has a bevel here. And here we have 3 more lamps from Pinball Life. The first one is a frosted single surface-mounted diode or surface-mounted LED. The second is a clear single surface-mounted LED. And this third one is like this one. It's a frosted single surface-mounted LED, but it's different. This one, the frosting looks clear. It looks like they took a clear dome, put it over the LED, and it's just sanded it, frosted it. This one looks like it was painted with white light. It's hard to see through the camera, but this one looks a little harsh. It almost looks like a 5,000 Kelvin light instead of a 4 or 3,000 Kelvin for the warm lights. This one with the clear dome looks a little too bright to me, a little too harsh. This one with the dome that looked like it was painted looks pretty good. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter than the incandescents, but it has about the best color, and it's just bright enough to make the board look a little bit perkier. I like this a lot. Also, these 2 are non-ghosting LED. This is a lamp with 4 small surface-mounted LEDs on it. Let's see how it works. Okay, this time out, I just changed one bulb. I replaced the frosted single surface-mounted LED with a non-domed 4 small surface-mounted LED lamp. And this one looks pretty good. It's a little brighter than this frosted one that was in from last time. And the color is better than the non-ghosting clear domed single surface mounted LED. This is getting hard to keep all of them straight. It's a little bit bright. I really like the color and matching to the brightness of this one. It's just bright enough more than the incandescents that it enhances. This one's a little bit brighter. It's starting to take over, but this would be a matter of personal preference. This one I could go with. The color is very good here. The first lamps from Comet Pinball are all warm white, single surface mounted LEDs. One with a frosted dome, clear dome, and no dome at all. This is the frosted dome, this is the clear dome, and this is the no dome. And I have to admit that I'm starting to like the brighter ones a little bit better. The frosted dome softens the rays that have been machined into the lenses that have been mounted on the playfield. But I don't know, when I'm actually at the end of the table playing the game, these look a little brighter, a little bit more interesting. So let's pop in the next 3 and see what we get. Next, again from Comet Pinball, we have the same bulbs, except they have 2 smaller surface-mounted LEDs on them. I don't really know what the difference is between 1 large and 2 smalls, but we'll see if there is one. Let's see what they look like. This first one is a frosted dome over two small surface-mounted LEDs. This is a clear dome over two small surface-mounted LEDs. And this is the single surface-mounted LED from the previous test for comparison. And frankly, I don't see a whole lot of difference between the two LED and the one LED. They're both about equal brightness, equal color, and equal distribution of light. Again, I'm finding that the frosted bulbs have kind of a dull look when compared to these. So I'm starting to get to really like these. Let's try the non-ghosting surface-mounted LEDs and see how they look. And finally, we have a pair of non-ghosting surface-mounted LEDs. Each of these have just one of the large ones on it. This is the single surface-mounted non-ghosting LED with a frosted lens. This is a single surface-mounted LED with a clear lens, also not supposed to be non-ghosting. And I have to say, they look so close to the other surface-mounted LEDs that even side by side, it's hard to tell much difference. They're all starting to look pretty good. Let's move back to the player's position for one final comparison. Here's what greed looks like back with incandescence. While the gradual brightening and dimming creates a smoother flow to the light, I have to confess, the brighter, cleaner light the LEDs project perks up the display so much that I really don't mind the fact that they turn on and off so fast. So, what I've learned in addition to this is that the old style LEDs don't look as good as the surface-mounted diode types. I prefer either clear or no domes. Non-ghosting LEDs are preferable, but the ghosting effect is so dim few people will really notice it. Next, I want to compare what all white LED lamps in the match room looks like compared to a mixture of white and colored lamps. Until then, if you'd like to see more web pages about my Addams Family pinball game, please visit my main website at waynesthistandthat.com. Thanks for watching.